Many of these customs seem absurd today, but at the time they were treated as logical, necessary, and even divinely inspired. To understand why they existed, we have to remember that medieval society lacked modern science, relied heavily on authority, and viewed the world as deeply interconnected through religion and superstition. What follows are some of the strangest traditions medieval Europeans genuinely believed in, not as jokes, but as truths. Bloodletting was one of the most common medical practices in medieval Europe. Doctors believed the body was controlled by four humours: blood, phlegm, yellow bile, and black bile. Illness meant these humours were out of balance. Removing blood was thought to restore health. This practice was used to treat headaches, fevers, infections, and even mental illness. Kings, peasants, and clergy all underwent bloodletting. In some cases, patients were bled repeatedly over days or weeks. While it often weakened or killed patients, failures were blamed on the illness itself, not the treatment. The theory survived for centuries because it was inherited from ancient authorities like Galen, whose writings were rarely questioned. Another widespread belief was the idea of miasma, or bad air. Medieval Europeans believed disease spread through foul smells rather than physical contact or microorganisms. Swamps, decaying matter, and even poor neighborhoods were thought to generate deadly air. During plagues, people carried flowers, burned incense, or avoided certain areas entirely. Cities focused on smell control rather than sanitation. While this theory was incorrect, it sometimes accidentally improved hygiene. Still, it caused people to misidentify causes of disease and ignore real transmission methods. When courts lacked evidence, medieval justice sometimes turned to trial by ordeal. These trials were based on the belief that God would protect the innocent. A person might be forced to carry a hot iron or be submerged in water. If wounds healed cleanly, innocence was assumed. If not, guilt was confirmed. These trials were often overseen by clergy, reinforcing the idea that divine forces controlled outcomes. While absurd today, this system provided a sense of fairness in a world without forensic evidence. In several documented cases, animals were formally put on trial. Pigs were executed for killing children. Rats were summoned to court for destroying crops. Lawyers were appointed to defend them, sometimes arguing that rats could not attend court due to danger from cats. These trials reflected the belief that law and morality applied to all beings within society. They were not satire, they were official legal proceedings. During times of crisis, medieval Europeans often believed disaster was caused by sin. In response, public acts of penance became common. Groups of people would travel from town to town whipping themselves in public, believing that physical suffering could prevent divine punishment. These movements grew especially popular during plague outbreaks. While church authorities sometimes condemned extreme practices, the belief that suffering could save society remained deeply rooted. Medieval society was rigidly hierarchical. Social rules governed speech, posture, clothing, and behavior. Addressing someone incorrectly or standing improperly could be seen as an insult or act of rebellion. These traditions reinforced social order and made hierarchy visible at all times, even in casual interactions. Kings relied heavily on superstition. Astrologers were consulted before battles. Certain days were considered unlucky for decisions. Illness was sometimes blamed on curses rather than health conditions. These beliefs influence real political decisions, affecting entire kingdoms. What makes medieval traditions fascinating isn't just how strange they seem now, but how normal they once were. These practices weren't stupidity, they were humanity doing its best with limited knowledge. And as history shows, every era has beliefs it assumes are permanent truths. The real question is which of ours will one day be seen the same way.